Hi, my name's Alyssa. What's your name?
I'm Dwayne.
Nice to meet you,
Nice to
Dwayne.
meet you too, Alyssa.
I'm your dietitian. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay.
Good. How was your weekend?
My weekend this weekend was a little busy at home, catching up with some things.
What'd you do at home?
Some plumbing type stuff and things of that nature.
Are you a plumber?
No, I'm not.
Not a plumber.
Not at all.
So, did everything go well?
About 50%.
50%. So, you still have plumbing issues?
Yes, I do.
That's no good. What else did you do this weekend besides plumb?
That was about it, except for the extended weekend. It was the Thanksgiving holiday. I spent time with family.
Great. Did you have to go out of town for Thanksgiving?
No, it was all at my house.
Awesome. What you guys have to eat?
Well, the typical turkey, ham, the other things you would find, homemade macaroni cheese, broccoli cheese casserole, all the good stuff.
Okay. Did you cook anything?
No, I'm not much of a cook.
You just ate.
Pretty much. I'm really good at that.
Yeah, me too. Great. So, what brings you in today?
Well, I'm a veteran. I see the VA doctor, and they've deemed me as having high blood pressure, and so they said I should come talk to you.
Okay, great. So your doctor referred you to us?
Yes.
Okay. So what do you know about hypertension or high blood pressure?
Not a whole lot. I'm kind of new to it.
Not a whole lot. Okay, so basically, high blood pressure or hypertension is the technical term for it. Means that your blood in your veins is pushing against the walls really hard. So that causes your heart to work a lot harder than it needs to, not very efficient, and so that can lead to a lot of complications further down the road if you struggle with high blood pressure for a long time. Some of those complications include heart disease, heart attacks, strokes, and kidney damage. So it's a pretty serious issue that you want to get taken care of. And me, as a dietitian, I can help you find dietary modifications that you can make to improve your hypertension.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Well, I don't think anyone likes the sound of a diet, if you will, or
Right.
being told what they can and cannot eat, but yes.
Right. Well, that's not what we're going to do today. I'm not going to tell you that you can't eat what you like, because I know food is a big, important role in everyone's life. So all we're going to do today is kind of take a look at what you currently eat and try to find a couple of ways that we can tweak it to make it better for you. Does that sound okay?
Okay.
All right. So do you know anything that affects your high blood pressure? Diet-wise?
No, not exactly. I do know that I guess as they're in the works of trying to get me set on the right blood pressure medicine or dosage or whatever it is, there are times when I eat, I feel really hot after I've eaten. I get really warm, like I've been, I don't know, exercising or something.
Right. Yeah, so your dosage of medication is dependent upon what you eat, what time you eat, how much you eat, the content of your meals. So mostly the big influencer there is sodium. Do you know anything about sodium?
I hear sodium, I think of salt.
Right, exactly. So sodium is basically salt. So when you salt your foods, you're increasing the sodium content. And a lot of sodium can be found in foods that are pre-packaged. So like frozen meals, anything out of a can, anything in a box. There's a lot of sodium there to help preserve it.
Sure.
So what I want to kind of go over today is the DASH diet. Have you ever heard of that before?
I have not.
So DASH stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. It includes all of these things here, consuming an adequate amount of whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and dairy. But what I want to focus on today is sodium. So sodium, when you have hypertension, the recommended amount that you should consume is less than 2,300 milligrams.
Okay, sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it does kind of sound like a lot, but it adds up pretty quick, especially when you're not preparing your own meals at home.
Yeah, that's a problem for me.
So, a great way to make sure that you're not consuming a lot of sodium is to use herbs and spices to season your foods rather than salt. So you can get a good amount of flavor out of herbs and spices, but they don't have any sodium content.
Sure.
And then, like I said a minute ago, canned foods have a lot of sodium in them. So a great way to kind of reduce that is to rinse the canned foods. Once you get it out of the can, it kind of rinses all of the juice off, which contains most of the sodium.
Okay.
You,
Now, is there still a big part that's saturated within the vegetable or whatever the canned good is?
yeah, there's still a pretty good amount in there, but you can get rid of most of it by rinsing the product out.
Okay.
And then you can also purchase food labeled as low sodium. So if you eat a lot of like frozen meals or anything like that, there's a lot of those that are labeled as low sodium or reduced sodium, that kind of thing. They'll have less sodium than their regular counterpart.
Okay. I understand.
Okay, so taking that into consideration, I kind of want to go through a 24-hour recall. Do you know what that is?
I'm going to assume what I've done in the last 24 hours.
Right, so we're going to go through everything that you've eaten in the last 24 hours from when you woke up to when you went to bed. And as we go through that, I want you to be as specific as possible, giving serving sizes, all the condiments that you used, the time that you ate, the place that you ate, and all that good stuff. It'll just help me gain a better understanding of what you eat in a typical day and help me formulate some goals at the end of the session so that we can move forward and try to help you with your hypertension.
It's not very impressive.
Your diet?
I know it's not. Yes, it's bad.
It's okay. I'm not here to judge. So, do you care if I take notes while we talk
Absolutely.
about it? Okay. So, starting yesterday, when you first woke up, what was the first thing that you consumed?
A Dr. Pepper soda.
Dr. Pepper.
I don't drink coffee. It's kind of my replacement.
Okay. What time did you have that?
I'm usually up around 5:30. I have medicine I take, so usually that's the first thing I grab.
Okay. And about how much do you drink?
Throughout the day or in the morning?
Just that time in the morning.
Well, I now work in Lexington. It's about an hour drive from me, so I don't know. I stay thirsty. And I know I've heard when I was in the military, even pop soda, all the sugars in it, that actually makes you more thirsty than it would like water. However, because my addiction to pop, I'll drink anywhere between 2 and 3, probably just on the way to work in an hour's time.
Okay.
And then I'll slow down after that.
And what size are those drinks?
Little 12-ounce cans.
Okay. All right. Do you eat anything when you drink those?
I don't. I don't know. My bowels aren't real happy in the morning, so I don't really care to eat anything first off.
Okay.
I usually wait till about lunchtime.
Okay. So you have the 2 to 3 Dr. Peppers in the morning on your way to work.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to work, do you have anything to drink then?
I'll probably, within the time I get to work and lunchtime, probably have had 2 more.
Okay. What time do you typically eat lunch?
About in around 12 o'clock, just depending on when I'm tied up with at work.
Okay. All right. What do you usually have for lunch?
It's usually pretty basic. A sandwich of some sort, bologna, ham, turkey. It's usually with cheese and mayonnaise. Usually white bread.
Okay. Alrighty. About how much meat do you put on your sandwich?
If it's bologna, the typical slice, probably 2.
Mm-hmm.
Ham and turkey, probably a little more than average. I don't really know what that would be. It's kind of a guessing game, really. It's not measured out or anything.
Can you show me with like the thickness of your fingers, maybe? How thick your sandwich is?
Probably about as thick as a 2 bologna sandwich.
Okay.
Regardless, if that makes sense.
All right, that does make sense. Okay. Do you have anything else with lunch?
Yeah, it's usually a sandwich bag, Ziploc bag full of chips.
Okay.
That varies from the type, but they're usually like a Lay's type brand, maybe something that's flavored.
You said that's a sandwich bag.
Yes.
Do you bring that from home?
Yes.
Do you prepare that in the
No,
mornings?
my wife prepares it for me.
Okay. Does she also prepare the sandwich?
Yes.
Okay.
The whole meal.
Alrighty. Anything else?
I may every once in a while, but I don't always eat it. Is a Little Debbie snack cake.
Okay. Alrighty. What kind do you usually have?
It really varies.
Okay. Just any kind.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Anything else with lunch?
Usually another pop.
Okay.
12 ounce. Most likely to finish at 2 with my meal.
Okay. Alrighty. And when's the next time you eat throughout the day?
Not usually till I get home.
Okay. What time is that?
Well, it really varies. I'd say between 6 and 8 p.m.
Okay. What do you typically eat for dinner?
Well, because of my schedule and my wife and I we eat differently. She tries to eat a little better than I do. She eats a lot lighter than I do. Of course, you see I've only eaten once today. So by the evening and the whole day at work, I'm pretty hungry when I get home. Sometimes I can eat a lot, sometimes I can't. I eat a lot of eggs, fried, probably into a sandwich.
Okay.
We do frozen pizzas,
Okay.
hamburgers in a skillet, hot dogs. Then occasionally she may prepare something more of a meal-wise, but just never knowing when I'm coming home and things of that nature, it's kind of hard for her to do so. So usually that's probably about the extent of it. That is the norm.
When you say that you have eggs, about how many do you eat?
Probably about 4.
4? When you have the egg sandwich, do you have more than one of those, or?
It'll usually be divided 2 eggs on each sandwich.
Okay. And the frozen pizzas, when you make those, about how many slices do you have of that?
I think it's better to say I probably eat about half of it.
Half of it? And what kind of pizza do you typically have?
Pepperoni, cheese.
Alrighty. And then the hamburgers, how do you have any fixins on there or anything?
Not typical. Just cheese and either mayonnaise, ketchup. That's about it. Maybe a pickle or 2.
Alrighty. And the hot dogs, do you have anything on those?
Sometimes she'll make me some of that chili sauce
Okay.
out of a can.
Alrighty. Do you have anything to drink with dinner?
Well, usually by the time I'm having a beer.
Okay. What kind of beer?
I drink Coors Light.
And how many of those do you have with dinner?
That's usually just 1.
Okay. And what size is that?
They're 12 ounce.
Alrighty. Anything else in the evening?
It's usually about it. I usually continue to drink beer.
Okay. How many do you have in the evening?
Honestly, it could range probably between 4 and 12.
Okay. And what time do you typically go to bed?
Well, lately, since I started this new job, I end up going to sleep much earlier. I'd say typically between 8 and 10, or excuse me, 8 and 10.
Okay. Alrighty, and is that all you have throughout the day?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much it? Okay, great. Thank you for providing me with all of that. So, I kind of just want to go back through here and look at some of the things that you eat, and I want you to kind of pick out some places that you think that we could make improvements with your sodium intake based on what we discussed earlier about the prepackaged foods, the canned foods, and things like that.
I'll have to say all the above.
All of the above. So
It's not a good excuse, but with the way I work, the hours I put in,
Right.
it's too easy just to go off, something that's easy to grab,
Hmm.
a quick fix, and move on.
Right. So, I know you said you have the Dr. Peppers in the morning, so you don't eat any breakfast there. But when we get to lunch here, is there anything that jumps out to you that may contain more sodium than the rest of this?
I I would guess the chips.
Yeah, probably the chips. So a great way to kind of reduce the amount of sodium when you're having chips is there's some chips, I don't know if you've seen them before, the baked chips.
Yeah.
Have you ever had those?
I have.
There's quite a bit less sodium in those if you ever want to try that out for lunch instead of the regular packaged Lay's. Anything else with lunch that you say has a lot of sodium?
I'd say that bologna does.
Mm-hmm. So, prepackaged meats. I know you said that your wife prepares your lunch for you. Do you know where she gets the lunch meat from? Is it from the deli or is it?
No, it's usually prepackaged from your local stores,
Okay.
grocery or whatnot.
So a great way to continue having your sandwich for lunch since you're pressed on time and everything is to purchase meat from the deli. Is because it's more fresh. It doesn't have as many preservatives in it than a packaged thing of meat would.
But doesn't the meat even from the deli come in packaged, just not in serving size?
Right, it is packaged, but since it's not sitting on a shelf for so long, there's a lot less sodium in it.
All less preservatives. So okay, I understand.
Anything else with lunch?
That's all of it.
Well, I mean, that's not a bad lunch at all. It doesn't seem like you eat very much throughout the day. I think just making a couple little changes right there with your lunch would make a huge difference with your sodium intake. What about dinner? These dinner options here, which one do you think has more sodium in it?
My first guess would be hot dog.
Hot dog? Okay.
For
Why?
the provided list here.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think the hot dog?
That's a lot like bologna, is it not? Don't they salt that stuff a lot?
Right, yes. Yeah, it has a lot of sodium in it as well. Anything else out of this list?
I'd say the frozen pizza.
Frozen pizza? Why do you think that?
Well, again, it's prepackaged.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say the pepperonis that are on it probably high in sodium. Honestly, I'm not really sure about the rest of it, but
Yeah, I would say those two are probably the highest amount of sodium there. You can get low sodium hot dogs at the grocery store. I don't know if you've ever had those before, if you would even be interested in trying that, but there are some of those at the grocery store. And then the frozen pizza with the pepperoni. One way to reduce the amount of sodium would be the pepperoni since it is a prepackaged meat.
yeah, I'm actually bad about adding the pepperoni
Adding
to
pepperonis?
some little packets. So
Those are pretty good. So, as we move forward, what I kind of want to do is formulate some goals for you. So, in the coming weeks, you can try to make some changes to your diet and try to reduce that sodium intake.
okay.
So, like we discussed a minute ago, the chips with the reduced sodium, would you be willing to maybe purchase some of those or tell your wife about those so that she could get some for you
Yeah,
for
sure.
lunch?
Yeah.
Okay. And the sandwich meat, do you have access to a deli close to your home?
Oh, we absolutely could, or I could take the initiative myself. I work right next to a Myers in
Okay.
Lexington, so I'm sure I could go over there anytime
Okay.
and pick some up to bring home.
Okay. One plus for the deli meat is it's usually a lot cheaper than the prepackaged meat.
Well,
And then for your typical dinners, so with the hot dogs, would you be willing to try some reduced sodium hot dogs?
yeah.
Okay, great. So moving forward, we're going to try some of the reduced sodium chips, some deli meat, and some reduced sodium hot dogs. And also, when you leave today, I would like for you to keep a food diary. Do you know what that is?
I just write down each time I eat or consume anything at all for the day.
Right. So you don't have to write down every single thing that you eat, but when you eat something maybe that's prepackaged, like the chips or maybe the Debbie cake, or even the hot dog or the pizza that has a nutrition label on it. Kind of just go through and look at the sodium content of the food and write it down, what time you ate it, and the sodium content. So that when you come back in next time, we can take a look at it and see if you're getting close to that 2,300 milligrams goal.
Okay.
Does that sound like you can do that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I would like to see you again in 2 weeks. Does that sound okay?
Okay.
So for the next 2 weeks, keep the food diary, try out some reduced sodium foods, and kind of just be conscious of the amount of salt that you put on your food and that kind of thing.
Okay.
All right. Well, this was really great. Thank you for coming in.
Well, thank you for your time.
You're welcome. I hope I can help you with your hypertension, and so we can kind of get those levels down in the future. Next time that you come in, we'll be going over some more concepts of the DASH diet, so fruit and vegetable intake and whole grain intake.
Okay.
That sound good?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.